All right, guys. So Marjorie Taylor Greene met with AOC on the floor of the House, and apparently they've agreed to a debate. Now, this has been confirmed by Marjorie Taylor Greene. However, we have not heard anything from AOC in regards to whether or not she actually agreed. But I would hope that Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't lie about AOC agreeing to a debate if she didn't actually agree. Okay? And I told you guys before, I really do think that this is the best idea I've heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene ever since she's been in Congress. And matter of fact, I think her idea is so good that I think that it has the potential to solve the super polarized society problem that we currently have, right? I really do think that, right? A lot of people, have a diversity of opinions on Marjorie Taylor Greene, but, I do think that everybody, regardless of who they are, has a stroke of genius. That's why I pay attention to all opinions in politics. I pay attention to all sides and all perspectives, right? Because even perspectives that a lot of people don't necessarily agree with, there are some good ideas there, right? That's just my philosophy on life, right? And how listening to different people really helps, right? But Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, this idea of her and AOC having this debate, I think is revolutionary, because I think that these politicians should debate the policies that they're telling the American people is good for them. Okay. And let's be honest, guys. I mean, with AOC being so young and Marjorie Taylor Greene being so young and them basically, not having that much experience in Congress, and also happening to be at one of the more extreme wings of their respective parties, they're not really gonna be passing any legislation. Like, let's be real, right? They're not passing any legislation. Okay. And if you're not passing legislation, right, a lot of these people, they tend to spend more time on social media, right? Trying to rally up their base and trying to, push or pull their parties into the more extreme directions. But I think a good use of their time and a way to educate the American people would be for them to debate these policies, right? Let's hear a debate on it. And I think that would do a good job of shifting the conversation away from, race and all this other stuff. Don't get me wrong, AOC is going to bring up race, right? I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but AOC is going to talk about race, but it's in the context of actual policy, right? It's in the context of something that a lot of people probably will be interested in hearing, okay? And I think that that's what America needs, right? We need both sides to sit at the table, right, in a neutral setting and talk out the issues, right? That's really what we need. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC would literally be the perfect people to do this, okay? They really would. So I'm excited about the possibility, and I really hope that AOC agrees to do this. I think it'll be good for her. I think it'll be good for Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think it'll be good for America. I really do. I love this idea for Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? So I don't know if it's going to happen, but it looks like it might, and I really do hope that this becomes a thing, because this is what needs to happen, right? So regardless of what you believe, let's talk a little bit more about this debate. And, in the past, I said I think Marjorie Taylor Greene should be able to easily win this, okay? And that's for a few reasons. One, I actually read or skimmed through AOC's Green New Deal. And Marjorie Taylor Greene got a little bit of backlash and hate from the left because, she said that after she finished reading all 14 pages of it, right, like they agreed, she scheduled time for the debate. And people on the left saw this as, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't read the Green New Deal, or that, 14 pages is too much for her or something like that. And I'm like, how do you automatically interpret that in that way? Like, you just want to say Marjorie Taylor Greene is dumb, and you'll just pull anything out of your ass to make that a reality. But AOC just proposed this Green New Deal, or re-proposed it, and it would be fair that, you probably want to read over all 14 pages, and she probably could have been saying that, hey, those 14 pages could have been changed from the last Green New Deal, right? It could have been changed, right? So you want to make sure you're as up to date as possible on it. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene challenged her to a debate before AOC actually reintroduced a new plan, okay, if you actually have read the Green New Deal or skimmed over it, you would know that it is super duper vague. Okay, it is very, very, very vague. Okay, and because it's so vague and they have radical goals that should be that they want to achieve in 10 years, which will basically be impossible to do. It's very easy if Marjorie Taylor Greene takes a moderate position in terms of debating her on this, right? Like AOC is going to come out and say stuff probably like this.
The climate crisis is a crisis born of injustice, and it is a crisis born of the pursuit of profit at any and all human and ecological cost. That's right. Which means that we must recognize in legislation that the trampling of indigenous rights is a cause of climate change. The trampling of racial justice is a cause of climate change, because we are allowing people and we are allowing ourselves to we are allowing folks to deny ourselves human rights and deny people the right to health care, the right to housing and education.
Right? She's going to have a radical plan. She's going to be talking about race, okay? Because that's, at this point, what they need to do to convince anybody to get on board with what they want to do. It got to be some racial element to it. And that's something that's Marjorie Taylor Greene can easily push back against, okay? Because it lacks details, right? And the things that she wants to do are just not economically feasible. It's just not, right? So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, she did go give us a little bit of a hint in terms of what her strategy might be for this debate. As, she says, communist China has been lying, cheating, and stealing from the U.S. for decades, mainly because our politicians are stupid and they sell us out every time. Now, Joe Biden and the Dems are forcing America into slavery to China with AOC's Green New Deal. Because China is not going to stick to their promise of reducing emissions to net zero, they always lie. I do agree with that. China probably is not going to stick with their promise of reducing net emissions to zero. China wants world domination. I think that is also true. China controls the battery market and most of the rare earth mineral rights to make batteries for electric vehicles. Okay? If America goes to all electric vehicles and relies on all battery operated vehicles, then we will be completely reliant on China. While China grows into a world economic powerhouse through oil, natural gas, and coal, President Trump made America great by setting policy that makes us energy independent and strong. AOC, Joe Biden, and Dems are making America weak and reliant on communist China. That's why I'm fighting every day for America first and for the American people. All right. So her argument is essentially that the Green New Deal will make us reliant on China because China is not going to actually follow through on their goals in regards to climate change and reducing net emissions. Now, I will say this. China definitely is investing in electric vehicles, right? They have, quite a bit of electric vehicle companies in China. Now, that's not to say that that's going to help them achieve the goal of reducing their net emissions to zero, right? Will they get there in the amount of time that the Green New Deal would? Obviously, probably not. And while China does dominate the lithium ion battery market, right, 70% of that market to be exact, right, is China is responsible for. That's not to say that you can't shift over supply chains more to North America, right, which is also what Trump wants, right? Like, a part of, the America First plan is to bring jobs to America. And, this is still an early industry, and it's an industry that's going, and there are people out there that are willing to invest in this market to shift some of that manufacturing over to America. Now, will we be able to be completely independent of China? Probably not. But I think most analysts do agree that in order to lower costs long term, we're going to have to move over a lot of the supply chains from China to America. So there's actually an incentive to do that. But, Obama did try to invest in battery production in America for electric vehicles. However, that failed. And the reason why it failed is because demand for electric vehicles did not materialize. So, the whole market in terms of electric vehicles really depends on demand. Okay. And if demand materializes, then we can shift over supply chains to the United States and create jobs here. But it's going to be based off of demand, okay? It's going to be based off market forces. She definitely needs to take a position where she has to realize that you can't have a do nothing position. And the reason why is because, guys, I mean, Ron DeSantis and the Republicans in Florida are literally spending $1 billion, right? Billions of dollars of taxpayer money to fight climate change, aka sea level rise, in Florida, because Florida is susceptible to that, right? And the thing is that I know a lot of people just don't want to believe it, and that's fine. Like, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but I tend to look at the world in a way that's, I follow the money, right? If a Republican like Ron DeSantis, right, and the Republicans of Florida, who are very incentivized to say that, this is not real because the base doesn't believe it's real, but they also live in a state where it's like, okay, if this thing is happening, it's going to affect this state. And the fact they're spending billions of dollars to fight this thing tells you all you need to know about whether or not they believe the science, right? But it is what it is. Believe what you want. I'm just saying, I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene would be best to take a moderate approach, right? I think that encompasses her having her own plan, right? Having her own plan for what she wants to do, right? Because again, like I said, I mean, if she has no plan and she goes out there and she says that, okay, it's not real, blah, 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 she's not really going to win that debate. She just can't win that debate, okay? She won't be able to win it. And she would allow AOC to win a debate that AOC shouldn't win, okay? And here's the thing, guys. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene actually has a good amount of help for this because Matt Gaetz in her own caucus, right? The America First caucus, the caucus they want to start, right? The Anglo-Saxon caucus, right? He has a climate plan called the Green Real Deal, right? And I actually like Matt Gaetz' plan, okay? It focuses more on the private sector, the spur of the renewable energy market rather than government, right? And I think that that's probably the best approach to this problem, right? She also has Republican Senator Lamar Alexander from Tennessee's 10-point plan that he basically calls the New Manhattan Project for clean energy, right? So there are Republican proposals out here that she can borrow from in order to present her own proposal, which I think is the key to winning this debate. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to focus on the how and not the why more, but the how. And I think that she would definitely be able to easily beat AOC because AOC, guys, she's an ideologue and we've seen her discuss policy issues, right? Like when she was talking about Israel and Palestine, it was all word salad, right? So Marjorie Taylor Greene, if she actually goes up there with a plan, right? I think that she could easily get AOC into a word salad, okay? And I think that will probably be the key. But who knows, man? I really do hope this happens regardless. And I think that this is a great idea. I really do think it's a great idea. I think more politicians need to do this. I think they need to put their monies where their mouth is in terms of, debating and educating the American people on, why they want the policies that they want on a formal stage. And I also think that would help with polarization in America. I really do think so. At the very least, we're more policy focused. That's where the direction that America really needs to go if we want to get out of this whole sensationalist media. So kudos to Marjorie Taylor Greene for this. I really, really, really love this idea. And this is one of the best ideas I've heard come out of Congress in a long, long, long time. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.